Hey friends, welcome to day 2 of our 28-day cycle-aware yoga program. If you'd like to receive all 28 practices to your email inbox for free, there'll be a link below where you can sign up to receive all of those videos. Today's practice is 20 minutes of Yin Yoga. The essence of Yin is a yielding or accepting life exactly as it is, which I think is such a beautiful practice to include during menstruation because that is the energy of this time, an acceptance of the release, a letting go. So in this practice, we're learning the art of yielding to our own physical body, to truly listening and finding that edge. So in each of the poses today, we'll be holding them for an extended period of time. You are welcome to use lots of props so that you're keeping yourself supported and you're finding that edge and then you're resting there. And then it's moving into a space of just allowing. So noticing perhaps when you get the invitation from your body to gently move a little bit deeper, or perhaps just waiting for the whole 5 minutes or so and never receiving that invitation, just holding that edge and staying with the body and with the breath. There's a beautiful quote about Yin Yoga that says, "We don't use the body to get into the pose, we use the pose to get into the body." As your body stills in this practice, you might find that the mind wants to wiggle. I want you to allow it. Let it wander. Let your awareness follow that wandering. And the mind may try to convince you that you really need to move, that this is excruciating, this is uncomfortable, you need to scratch, you need to itch. See if you can notice those thoughts as well, and then just allow them to be without necessarily needing to respond to them. Really letting yourself rest in this awareness, this knowledge that we are not the thoughts, we are not the body, we are the awareness that sits around both of these things. So the first pose in our practice today is our twisted roots or a supported spinal twist, however you like to think of this pose. You might want to bring in lots of props for this practice. I want you to find your edge, and what I mean by that is just finding the point at which you can feel the stretch and you can go and rest there. So if that means bringing in lots of props so that you're not overextending your body at all, please do that. If it means you're flat on the floor, that's also okay. It will depend on how flexible and mobile your body currently is at this moment. So to start with, we're just going to lay ourselves down on our backs, hug the knees into the chest, and just take a little rock from side to side. So as we move into our spinal twist, we're going to take both legs over to the left side. And you can see I've got my bolster there ready because I'm going to rest my legs on the bolster so the twist is not as intense through my spine today. And then I'm going to take the arms wide, resting this right shoulder or the opposite shoulder to knee down. And then I'm going to gently look away from the legs. So take a couple of breaths here and notice if you found your edge. If you haven't quite made it, you may need to adjust props slightly. So I might take my bottom leg down to the ground, but my top leg is going to rest on this bolster. And then we're simply going to breathe here. Allowing the lengthening to occur in the spine. Allowing ourselves to follow the breath. Letting go of any gripping that we might still be feeling in the body. And then we just simply stay here. Noticing the body, the breath, and the thoughts. Got 1 minute left here in this position. It's time now to gently roll yourself back onto your back. And we use a gentle hugging of the knees into the chest to counterpose. You can take a little rock from side to side if that feels nice. And then when you're ready, we slowly move into the opposite side. So rolling the legs over. Bring any props into your practice that you'd like to today. So remembering you don't need to have a bolster. If you've got cushions off your bed, they will work equally as well. So let yourself really adjust in this practice. You might find you need different levels of props on each side. So for me, my left shoulder blade is not quite coming comfortably down to the floor in this twist. So a rolled blanket underneath is helping me to find that comfort. And then we take a few breaths, settle in, see if we found that edge. And then we start letting go of the gripping in the body, any holding on. And as you rest in this space, remember that anytime your body invites you to go a little deeper, you can listen and follow. But let go of any expectations of needing to go anywhere but here. You've got 1 more minute in this position. And then we start to slowly come out, moving any props out of the way, coming back into that rebound position, gently drawing the knees in towards the chest. You can hug them in together or keep them wide, whatever feels best for you. Maybe taking a little rock. And then when you're ready, just going to roll to one side. Because we keep the belly soft during menstruation, we're using the arms to bring ourselves up. And we're coming into a butterfly. So I want you to bring the soles of the feet in towards each other. If you need some support underneath the knees, you can bring a cushion under each side. That will just help to decrease the stretch in the inner thigh if it's too much in this position. And then I'm going to bring in some extra bolsters here to rest the upper body on. And why not? Let's bring in all the props, another cushion on top as well. And this is just going to allow me to really round and fold the body down. If the breasts are quite sore and tender, you can make a little bit of a stagger here so there's space for them as well. And then we're just resting the side of the face. Taking a few breaths here and just noticing whether you've found your edge. If it's too much, bring extra props in. If it's not enough, you can adjust, maybe reducing some of the props so that you can find that edge today. And this pose is stimulating into the kidney and lung meridians, stretching into the inner thigh and hips and glutes. And then we just allow ourselves to let go of the gripping, so really resting into the supports. Letting yourself sink. You've got 1 minute left in this position. Start to slowly bring yourself back up. Just moving those props out the way. Crossing the legs in whichever way is comfortable for you, and just doing a few heart opening poses here just to counterbalance all that rounding we did in our butterfly. You might even like to do a little bit of a seated cat-cow. Good. The next pose we're going to come into is our saddle or our supported hero, depending on which school of yoga that you're following. So we're going to bring ourselves to sit between the feet. And the pose is a back bend. So it can be quite intense. So without any props, this is what the pose looks like. But remember, given we're staying there for 5 minutes, that might be taking us too far past our edge. So let's bring some props in to support that. So one bolster in between the legs just to bring the hips a little bit higher. If this is also too much, you could bring in a rolled blanket in between the knees so that you're reducing the opening that's happening through the knees. So this might be where you'd like to stay with the hands grounded and the head and neck resting back. If that is still too much, bring in some more props. And you can really stack these on top of each other, almost creating like a little bit of a bed support. So it becomes a much more gentle variation. Still reaching the fingertips down towards the ground. Finding your breath. Taking a moment to check in. Is this my edge? Do I need more props to support? Perhaps less. And then breathing here. You can use the breath as an anchor to notice whether you've found your edge or you're past it. I find if the breath becomes shallow and short, I've moved too far. But if I can still breathe deeply and release into that gripping, I'm probably in the right place. Breathing here. Gently releasing into the thyroid, stretching along the front line of the body into the hips. Breathing and letting go. You've got 1 more minute in this position. And then slowly use the props behind you to gently draw the chin to chest and slowly come to rise. Our counter pose is a child's pose, so we've done lots of opening in this space now. So we're just rounding in the opposite direction and simply bringing the head towards the floor. You could bring the hands underneath the head or wrap the hands and find the heels. And just taking a few breaths here. Slowly rising all the way back up. We come to our final pose of today's practice, our Shavasana. So again, using a lot of these props that we've already been using. I'm going to keep my chest lifted. I'm going to bring a bolster under the knees for support. I'm going to bring a block underneath the top of the bolster just to lift my head a little. And then we rest in. Letting yourself sink. Letting the face soften. Neck and shoulders relax. Letting all parts of you release and soften. If the belly is still hurting today, you might like to bring the hands to the belly and just notice the warmth of the hands resting in this space. And then we just breathe here together. One more minute here. start to slowly bring yourself back. Blinking the eyes open and stretching long. When you're ready, roll the props away. Bring yourself up. So remember that everything in life and in yoga needs to be balanced. So whilst today's practice was really slow and gentle, and we were embracing that yin energy to hopefully balance out some of the yang of menstruation, you also need to make decisions how to find that balance within your life. So perhaps today for you in your body and for whatever is going on in your world right now, today's practice was enough. And an early night tonight might be what your body needs, really leaning into that yin and that rest. Or you might decide what your body really needs is to go for a nice long walk, to turn off the distractions of the outside world, to not listen to music perhaps, or not listen to a podcast, and just to be in a space of listening out in nature, walking and moving your body. Maybe that is what is going to bring that beautiful balance back into your body. I don't want you to feel like you can't move your body during menstruation. You absolutely can. It's about turning inward and looking and listening to what does my body really need right now. For me, when I get my period, the first couple of days come with a heavy dragging feeling that I don't love doing intense exercise or going for long walks. I like these sort of practices. And then as my energy starts to return, I start to move my body more and I feel better bringing back in those more energetic and yang practices. But it might differ for you. So I want you to tune in and really listen to what does your body need today to find balance, because that is really the essence of yoga, and especially of cycle-aware yoga, of listening to your body, to where your energy levels are at, to what your emotions are telling you, to what might be going on with those hormones, listening and adjusting your life and your practice accordingly.